Hello once again, everyone. My name is Adam Pohl, and we welcome you to another Mount Athletics podcast. And today we got a special one. We're going to look back at a championship weekend for the Mount St. Mary's track and field program. The men's outdoor team winning it all for the first ever MAAC title for track and field in Mount St. Mary's history in their 4 years here in the conference. And what a weekend it was for the women as well, coming in second with some incredible individual performances as well. We're going to talk to the track and field coach of the year, Jay Phillips, when we return right after this. Our Mount Athletics podcast starts now. We welcome you back to our Mount Athletics podcast, and we're so happy to have with us Jay Phillips. Jay, congrats. I mean, this has been an incredible end to the athletic season here for Mount St. Mary's. And I know you're very proud here bringing home the hardware here with this men's outdoor track and field championship trophy. What does it mean to you?
It means the world. I mean, it for the athletes in particular. You know, you work so hard day in and day out. You know, I thought back to circuit season, you know, cross country, winter, you know, working out in the snow, indoor training in the field house, you know, all the effort the athletes put in, and then to have it, you know, to have us put it together on a phenomenal weekend at home. It was surreal. Like, I think that joy will last a long time for all of us.
It was a first ever track and field championship in the MAAC conference for Mount St. Mary's here. And I know you had so many different athletes that really stood out. The men's win, though, was by such an enormous amount. And overall, it was really remarkable to see your team exceed expectations by that level.
It was. I mean, we attacked it like it was going to be just a back and forth dogfight. We knew there were areas where we could accumulate points, areas where other teams could accumulate points. But every time we matched up head to head, we just won, and we just dominated again and again and again. And one of my big messages to the group was to own and produce and create the energy that they wanted out of the meet, not the opponent, not the score, not the weather. And they just did it. Every single event, they created the energy they needed, and what it ended up just being an absolutely dominating performance for us.
And it was your second time in the MAAC, hosting the MAAC championships here at the Mount. There is a lot of work that goes into that from your perspective that has nothing to do with coaching, with winning. Obviously, being at home is an advantage, but in many ways, it can be a distraction. It might not feel like a championship meet because your student athletes are literally here. It can go a lot of different ways.
So there's a lot of prep from our coaching staff to the athletes on how to recognize this as a championship meet, even though you're waking up in your own dorm, you're walking down to your own track, you're eating in your dining hall. But they were ready, and we put intentional effort into how to prepare them psychologically that this is a championship and what to expect when the weekend comes, and set up. Yeah. I mean, the one of the most stressful points for me that weekend is, am I going to get this steeple barrier set correctly? Because I have just a couple minutes to get it done, and can I do it? And once that is over, I know it was going to be a good weekend.
Now the men's team won by such an impressive figure, 76.5 overall points over Ryder that finished second. But we do want to mention it was a great performance for your women's team as well, to come in second place, above where they were predicted preseason in the conference, and they were right on the tail of Quinnipiac.
Well, in so many ways, we're one team. We practice as a team. We work together as one team. And when we're talking the week before championships, you know, the conversation does divide a little bit. And the conversation with the women were, you know, look, Quinnipiac's a very, very good team, and we're a good team too. And let's just chase them as far as we can, you know. And there are a couple other teams right near us, and let's make sure it's it's us beating them and hunting down Quinnipiac as far as we can go. And they absolutely responded to that and loved it. And you can't take away anything from the women's performance this weekend as well.
Fantastic. And as we go through a few of these individuals, Cameron Jones Howard, she actually went on, you had a few athletes go on beyond the MAAC championships, and she won the triple jump at High Point here I believe this last weekend.
Yep.
But she set a mount record, 12.55 meters. The sophomore from Columbia, outstanding. And she barely beat her teammate, Madeline Valpy, who scored a 12.48 meter jump. So that was an incredible performance.
And one of our mantras is good teammates compete, and we can be fierce competitors, and we can be supportive and loving and sharing in each other's success. And it all starts with good teammates compete. And those two are phenomenal at embodying that concept. And they both had amazing days. Cam obviously comes across with the win and the school record, and an excellent day in all three of her jumps. MVP for on the women's side. And she's quiet, humble, tough, talented, anything you could want in an athlete.
On the men's side, you won some big relays, the 4x100, the 4x400. Joshua Dean was the men's track most outstanding performer, but it really was a team effort.
It was, and those relays, it's so much fun. I mean, those sprint relays are amazing, and to win them both. And the 4x1, again, if I'm gonna feel sick to my stomach over nerves, it's going to be during that 4x1. You can practice. And when it comes down to the meet, anything can happen. And we proved that. Those guys put together a heck of a performance, and we knew they could do it. It just, sometimes, I don't know, sometimes you fall short, but they nailed it. It was a lot of fun. And then the 4x4 was just gutsy and gritty, and all four of those guys are just tough as nails, and it showed.
We've got some more athletes to highlight. We're going to take a quick break. We'll return with more with the MAAC Coach of the Year, Jay Phillips, when we return here on our Mount Athletics podcast.
The time has come. The steak and cheese sandwich is back at Roy Rogers. Savory or spicy, make it yours with your favorite fixins. Go big and upgrade to a large drink and holster fry for the full cowboy experience. Get it while you can. Steak and cheese is here for a limited time only. See you soon at Roy Rogers.
We welcome you back to our Mount Athletics podcast. My name is Adam Pohl, joined by Mount St. Mary's track and field head coach, Jay Phillips. Coach Phillips, this was really a momentous happening for your program. We talked about this a little bit before, but let's actually dig in a little bit more on some of the standouts. Abdul Ayola, incredible with the hurdles. He had an outstanding meet. He won the 400-meter hurdles. I think that's one of the toughest events in the sport, and he's been a standout for you.
He's so determined. Again, this quiet confidence. He shows up in big moments. He works hard. That event takes a neat combination of this sort of rhythmic endurance, this decision making in the moment as you're steering toward the hurdle, this toughness to be able to finish strong. A level of confidence, am I picking too fast of a rhythm, or, am I going to fall? Am I going to fade at the end or not? He had a bunch of fast guys in his heat, and he made the decision to go with them, and it really panned out. And then him in the highs, it's again, he's powerful. He understands the technical aspects of the sport. And, now in his career, he's won the 110s, the 60-meter hurdles, the intermediate hurdles. So he's kind of a hurdle king for us.
That is amazing. You also, I think what stands out too, a lot of times when you have a championship winning campaign, you might be the most senior most team, but you had both of the freshmen of the meet in this meet. And that is such a great, great sign, not just of this year, but of what's upcoming. Aiden Crawford on the men's side and Elena Murray on the women's side.
Yeah, both, again, fun freshmen, hardworking freshmen, humble, but have this humble confidence to them. Aiden's going to be big for us for the next 4 years. We knew he could throw the jab. We put him in that event, and he came up big. Probably surprised some people because we hadn't thrown him. We hadn't put him in the jab all season. Elena, she just responded so well to this university, the training, the atmosphere, and her improvements were off the charts in all of her events. And for her to all conference in the 100, all conference in the 200, anchored the 4x1, heck of a 4x4. I mean, it's a big weekend to ask a freshman to do 6 different events.
Wow.
And she responded phenomenally well.
We're here with Coach Jay Phillips. Jay, for you guys, you mentioned the javelin. We had beautiful weather for the majority of the weekend, temperatures in the 70s, but when everything was about to start, you had a few hours of very light rain leading into the meet. I believe it was still drizzling a bit when the javelin was being thrown. So that was the first competition of the entire meet. And for the men's javelin, the Mount had the top 4 performers. Talk about acquiring a ton of points, getting out to a big early lead. It was kind of a tone setter for you.
Well, it was, and we knew this was one of the events where we could chunk up a lot of points. And like I said, we snuck Aiden into it, and all 4 of those guys. When we talk about good teammates compete, I mean that's the epitome of that group. They are all talented. I didn't have the chance to say it to Brad, but man, Brad, if you didn't have teammates, you'd be a conference champ, right? So I mean that's
and he came in 4th.
And he came in 4th. So that's the nature of that event, and they knew their mission. Like, start us off well, and let's see how quickly we can bury some of these other teams. And between that, the pole vault, and the long jump, our day one was really good. And the women's side javelin, I think we went 1, 3, 4. So
yeah,
I mean, it's just Coach Stevenson does such a phenomenal job with all the throws, and that event in particular we've had amazing success with over the last 2 decades.
And it's hard for us to highlight all of your champion athletes individually because of the nature of track and field. Yep. It is an individual sport. You have more athletes than any other team here at Mount St. Mary's. So how do you pull, these individual events, athletes that are really focused on different skills, but you pull them together as a team?
Well, it is, because when we talk about a championship for track and field, it is at some level a literal sum of individual parts. Mm-hmm. So there isn't, high jumpers, steeple, to a 200-meter dash, to a hammer throw, right? I mean, they are individual isolated parts that the sum is the team score. Mm-hmm. But yet in any sport, there is a portion where a team can accomplish more than the sum of its parts, right? We've all seen these teams where the team is able to sort of grow beyond its individual parts and accomplish things that's just greater than the sum. Mm-hmm. And for us, we spend so much time building the right type of community. We spend so much time with our men and women focusing on forming who they are so that they become a more resilient person, a more courageous person, a more selfless person. And so this through track and field, they're changing who they are. And when you go through something like that, a formative process of growing as a person with close friends and teammates, you're just bonded. And so when you go into a championship, you can you can literally share in each other's joy. And you saw that this weekend. One person's success was the entire team's success.
Yes.
And that's how we were able to roll into these accomplishments that are greater than the sum of the parts. I mean, one successful event inspires the next successful event. And that energy this weekend was just unstoppable.
You have been a part of Mount St. Mary's University for a long time. You're a 2005 graduate. You've been a head coach since 2015. This has to be, if not the top of the mountain per se, one of your biggest moments. I mean, you were the head coach for a 2018 championship on the men's side, but to have both of your teams perform at this level in a meet here at home, where does this rank?
Definitely one of the highest. I mean, I don't want to. Every single team is special, and any coach and any team that really leans into each other, experiences that. But when it comes together in a championship, I mean, these are memories you'll never forget. It's a joy that you never forget. It does form us all. And if we're set up right, it forms us into better people. Mm-hmm. I mean, I did, Coach Stevenson was the coach that recruited me to the Mount. And I was able to hire him back. He's our throws coach now. And when I think Josh was a part-time coach back in 2018. So part of the conversation with them afterwards is there would have been something missing in my professional resume career if I couldn't win it with those two guys. Right. And we did, so that even for me was a special thing.
Oh, that is so meaningful. And you talk about the mission of the Mount. All of our coaches here at Mount St. Mary's carry that dearly, but I believe, Jay, that you really do so. You understand it from all these levels of perspective, and having more athletes, it makes it tougher to be able to guide the individual because you frankly just have more of them. You have a bigger staff than many as well, due to that. When you see it all come together, it's got to mean a lot for you, because this is not just what athletics is about, but it's what the school wants to see for all of their students.
Well, and it is, because and again, I mean, we're talking about winning a championship, but it is true that when they're 30 years old, no one's going to care how fast they ran. and as soon as you're 30 and above, you realize how much of your life is after 30, not before 30. And so part of the thing that I think the gift that Mount St. Mary's gave me, and the gift our staff wants to keep giving our athletes, is we want you to be excellent 25 and 30 years old, 30-year-olds, because of what you learned in this program. Mm-hmm. So everything is about running faster, jumping higher and farther, throwing further. But if that's all it's about, we're just kind of wasting our time. We want this program to be about forming people into the men and women that God wants them to become. And we're up front with that in the beginning, and track and field's an amazing venue to be able to form ourselves into people who can be successful for the rest of their lives.
One last question building off of that. Most sports have a true seasonality too. Of course, track and field does as well. But most sports that compete at the Mount are either a fall sport, they're a winter sport, or they're a spring sport. And you have this long off season, this, our first match or our first game is 6 months away. And, you might have practices, but it is a long buildup. The seasonality of really never stopping in track and field here until this final meet, how much does that instill, that kind of mindset into our athletes?
Well, there is a rhythm, and the athletes that are able to learn and embrace the rhythm end up being successful. I can't ask athletes to go to the well all the time, because eventually the well just runs dry, right? So you gotta pick and choose those practices. You gotta pick and choose those competitions, and you want, as a coach, when you're going to ask a lot from them, you want them to have the sort of tank to be able to, or the energy in a tank to be able to respond to that ask.
Yes.
And so we do. I mean, from a training design standpoint, it's a long fall, and we build in these rhythms of, I'm going to ask you to work hard this week. And then next week, I'm going to take you on a hike, right? We're literally going to hike up this mountain, and I'm going to give you a day off, and I'm going to, so they're each, and the athletes that can really sort of buy into that rhythm end up lasting the whole season and being able to produce when it counts at a championship.
Yes, here it is, the proof right here with us. Congrats, Coach Phillips.
Appreciate you.
An incredible season and bringing home a title for Mount St. Mary's here right here at the end of this 25-26 season.
Thank you.
That's Jay Phillips, and that is our look at track and field. A reminder that there is championship swag, so you can go on mountathletics.com and buy your track and field championships inventory, and you can do that right now. My name is Adam Pohl. Once again, this has been our Mount Athletics podcast.